Chris Wrestling Views back again with the Smackdown review from last night, you guys. I am excited for today, WWE Worlds Collide, and also, you guys, WWE's Money in the Bank later on tonight. So, me recording this video on Saturday, June 7th. Of course, we seen where Uncle Howdy was there. He was talking. He was pretty much saying that he's going to, overall, he's going to test each and every tag team on SmackDown's Brotherhood. And, could one of these factions end up breaking up? And then we seen like a half face of like Bray Wyatt and a half face of like Bo Dallas on the screen at the end. And then so that's when Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano DIY. It was like, who targeted the Wyatts? And then so that's when they ended up blaming it on the Street Profits. And then everybody was like pointing fingers at each other. And so they're pretty much not focused on the tag titles. They're pretty much focused now on the Wyatt Six because they're a unstoppable force. Now, Alexa Bliss, she did have a 6-woman tag match as well. She definitely did get like a big pop from the crowd in Bakersfield, California last night. Of course, you've seen where we had Rhea Ripley out there. We had Stephanie McCurry and Alexa going against the team of Roxanne Perez, Naomi, and I think I can remember the last person. I think it was Julia. But yeah, they did Stephen Vacker ended up doing the Devil's Kiss thing. The crowd was doing the Booker T thing. So then again, you guys, Roxanne Perez, she did end up getting attacked and then got hit with all the finishing maneuvers by Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, and Stephanie Vacker. And they pretty much stood tall. So who's gonna win Money in the Bank? I still, for some reason, got my money on Naomi winning, but we'll see what's gonna happen. Now, of course, you guys, Seth Rollins did come out there at the beginning of the show, and he just kept coming out there like 3 or 4, maybe 5 times throughout the show. And then, of course, Seth Rollins, of course, he was there. He was on the microphone, he was talking and saying that he's gonna win in the Money in the Bank. It ain't nobody or nothing that can actually stop him overall. And the crowd, was definitely, getting at Seth Rollins. And then that's when Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and JC Mateo, a.k.a. Jeff Cobb, comes out there to actually, have some wet words. Solo Sikoa was pretty funny when he was talking to Rollins. He was like, what is this right here? You got your own little bloodline? Now, Seth Rollins' faction reminds me of the Secret Harvest with Chelsea Green. But anyways, you guys, that's when Seth Rollins, started questioning the loyalty of Jacob Fatu for Solo Sikoa. And that's where, things start to really get interesting right there. Now, of course, we've seen the stare down between Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu. Of course, Jacob Fatu is your United States champion. And then that's when, they ended up walking out the ring. And that's when Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo ended up getting attacked by Jimmy Uso. And this all came about because JC Mateo kept on, attacking him. Of course, they had a one-on-one match, and you seen Solo was out there like, well, you can come back to the family. He was like, unless you just want to get your ass kicked. He said, well, let you get your ass kicked. And then, of course, you guys, that's where inadvertently we ended up having where Jason Mateo ran into Jacob Fatu, knocking him off the ring apron. And then that's when Jimmy Uso ends up beating JC Mateo. And I was like, wow, he lost his first match this fast. So I was like, dang. So, of course, we seen backstage where we had, Damian Priest pretty much saying he wants the United States Championship from Jacob Fatu. Of course, that's where JC Mateo and Solo then were talking like, hey, we can't trust him. And then Jacob was right there because Solo Sikoa said that, Jacob Fatu, he was all gas and no brains. And I was like, wow. And he was standing right there behind the lower door corner where he couldn't be seen. We did have a match, and I thought this was just a regular match, but I don't think it was. I think it was like some kind of hardcore match. We had Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega for the United States Championship. Of course, Piper Niven ends up getting put end up getting I call it Panama Sunrise, but she ended up getting that off the corner, and then she ended up getting it through the table. Julia came out there and helped her, but Julia, of course, wants that Women's United States Championship because Zelina Vega was talking mess backstage when they did see each other earlier in the show and saying that, ain't nobody going to beat her and so on and so forth. And that's where Julia, attacks her and holds up that title. Now we do have a men's and women's for both Raw and SmackDown. They're going to do like a king and queen of the ring, and looks like two different superstars from each brand will be fighting each other in the finals. Now, of course, Aleister Black looks like one of his candles wasn't lit, and a lot of people were pointing that out in their review videos from what I've seen. Of course, he would go one-on-one with LA Knight. The match actually was pretty good, I would have to say the least. One of my favorite matches of the night, until Seth Rollins came out there and, just started attacking every person that was, that's in that Money in the Bank, and trying to just take him out and put him on notice. And, of course, we see where Seth Rollins ends up looking at Aleister Black. Now, we remember when Aleister Black ends up getting his eye gouged into the steel step back during the pandemic, and you can see Aleister Black scratching at his eye, reminding him, because that's where Buddy Murphy, whatever you want to call him, and ended up pushing his eye through that thing. So of course I can't wait to see this showdown between those two. So with that being said, you guys, let's see what's gonna happen, you guys. I cannot wait for this showdown one day. Of course, Braun Breaker would come out there and spear Aleister Black as he tried to get back in the ring. He took a spear, and I was like, dang. I was like, yeah, it's going to be crazy. Now, of course, you guys, we got Rey Fenix versus Ethan Page. Rey Fenix versus Ethan Page versus Laredo Kid versus Javon Evans. To this evening, you guys, at 3 p.m. my time, depending on what time zone you're on, but it's coming on at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then, of course, we got Aerostar versus Octagon Jr. versus Mr. Iguana, I think it is. And then they'll be fighting Legado del Fantasma. Well, not Legado del, but Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, and And then, of course, we got Stephanie Vaquer versus Lola Vice versus Dilas and Chica or Menta. So this is going to be a pretty cool match as well. You guys can't wait for that. Then we got Legado del Fantasma versus Psycho Clown versus Pentagon versus Dr. Wagner Jr. as well. Can't wait to see this match. I feel like all these matches are going to be incredible. And I think this is going to be the main event, you guys, where we have Chad Gable versus Vakingo for the AAA Mega Championship. Can't wait to see how this is going to go. But it's going to be a cool match, I would have to say the least. Now, we did get where Vakingo ended up taking out Chad Gable, to hype up their, to hype the matchup, for today at 3 p.m. And probably, like I said, I think that's going to be the main event. Of course, Penta and Andrade stand tall when they won the match, when they beat the Creed brothers. And so you already see who's all the participant in the match, of course, as you've been seeing. Seth Rollins would lay out Penta and lay out Andrade as well. And then that's where Seth Rollins pretty much cut a little, Paul Heyman cut the promo for Seth Rollins and saying that nobody's going to, Seth Rollins is going to go up to the top. He's going to get that briefcase. He's going to cash in that thing. Cody Rhodes come down, has a stare face to face at Seth Rollins. And this pretty much set up to where you guys, we had, we seen where last year Seth Rollins, helped Cody Rhodes win that championship. So we'll see what's going to happen. Of course, John Cena and Logan Paul, they did come out there and saying, hey, look at your future WWE World Heavyweight Champion Logan Paul. And then, of course, that's where people were like, we want truth. We want truth after that was the last match that R-Truth had. Which was with John Cena at Saturday Night Main Event last weekend or the weekend before. So, yeah, you guys, and yeah, he was like, you can't handle the truth. But like, and comment, and subscribe to Chris Wrestling Views. You see it there on the screen. Make sure you follow me on YouTube. And also follow me on TikTok at Chris with the KHRIS 944. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys later on in the Worlds Collide prediction. Well, review video. Thank you.